What is up, guys? Welcome to another Amazon FBA Happy Hour. We got FBA G today, FBA Michaela in the house. Welcome. Happy Friday. Let us know what questions you have in the comments. We'll be talking Q4, strategies for that, all that good stuff, our plans, what we're going to be doing, FBM, all that good stuff, Twitter beef we usually get into. So we're going to cover all that today. So let us know in the comments what questions you have, where you're from, and what's up, man.
Nothing too much. Let me give an introduction. I feel like I did a
Yeah, give
terrible
the
job last
intro
time.
just in
Yeah,
case.
I felt bad last time. I'm an Amazon seller. I've done $4 million in the last 3 years, all online arbitrage, some FBM, but mostly FBA. And yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's crazy how quick the numbers add up. Like, it just seems like we met like yesterday, and it's just like you've blown up your whole store.
Yeah, trying.
So what are you doing for Q4?
Well, I think I've got a little bit scared of maybe the boogeyman where all these people are getting suspended on Twitter, like these really big sellers, like some huge guys.
Yeah.
That freaks me out a little bit because the thing that people don't talk about, I think, with this Amazon stuff is you invest all this money over and over and over to make like a 20% ROI on your money. Okay, so let's say you have $100,000, you're investing it to make $20,000. But at any moment, you could get literally shut to zero, and they don't give you your inventory, they don't give you your money, and you have loans you have to pay off. That freaks me out a little bit. So definitely not going to take a loan, which I wasn't going to do that anyways. But I had some guys telling me maybe I should not listen to that anymore. But I don't know. I'm probably just going to do the same thing I did last year. I'll probably do less than last year. Last year I did 300K, made about 60K. This year, if I can make 40, 50, that's cool with me. I don't think I'll push it unless I find some opportunity. Like last year, there was a certain thing I sold, made like 22 grand from it. If something like that happens, I will, but I'm not just going to buy a bunch right now and like pray that it sells Q4. I don't know if that's going to be my goal.
Was it something you drank out of?
No, not for that.
That was mine. That was me.
It was like a video game thing.
Oh, okay.
I was making so much money. This thing is tanked now. It's terrible. But I was like the first person that found it. Like there was no sellers with me and these other drop shippers on it. And I was making $80, $100 profit each, and I'd sell 40, 50 a day. Like I was making ridiculous amounts of money. But like I'm assuming something like that will happen this year, but I don't know if I'll even find it or not because I'm not sourcing as much. Just have a lot of other stuff going on. But maybe I'll get back on it when Q4 actually hits, like the November, December rush.
Yeah, I feel like sales are going to start to happen. Like, probably, I have it down like last year. They all started like first week in November. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of when it really gets going. So,
yep,
it should be interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, yeah, like everyone. I made a YouTube video about like yesterday, and was just like, I was just like, oh yeah, mistakes I made last Q4, and someone in the comments was like, oh yeah, like we're already planning for like Q4, like 2024. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, good for you. Like, kind of thing. It's just like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes for me, like you were saying before, like with the Amazon, I feel it's like hard to kind of like try to make an educated guess, like more than ever, because then you're gonna be like stuck with all this stuff. I'd rather be like liquid and kind of just like taking advantage of opportunity, like selling the good stuff that I have and like doubling down on that stuff, and then when there is an opportunity, like jumping on that.
Yeah, it's difficult unless you have a lot of capital to like make big guesses like that, because you're somewhat gambling. I mean, not really, but you are a little bit on how good things go. That's not to discourage people to go hard on court. You need to go hard, and you definitely do like FBM, do all your stuff if you want to. But yeah, I don't know, like pushing massive months for me. It's like, do I take all the money I've spent this year, I've made this year, and just put it into this inventory and hope for the best? I don't know. It's a little scary.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are your plans, Michaela?
I got some things lined up in the works. Some big things. But a lot of my liquid is in my houses right now, so it won't be as big as I usually go. And obviously, like you said, the whole suspension thing, that definitely scared the living daylights out of me. So definitely don't want to spend way too much and then potentially get suspended for something stupid.
Yeah, it's just so much risk. Like it's not like everyone's getting suspended, but
no,
especially for
but
you,
it's some of the big sellers that scare me.
Yeah, especially in your situation where you have like the real estate stuff going on. It's like you can't really afford to dump a bunch of capital and just lose it all. Like you have like other obligations now. So that I don't know. I feel like that too. Like I don't want to have other obligations with money and stuff. So I don't want to just dump it all and lose it. Which is not like that's obviously going to happen, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm definitely sourcing a lot safer this year. Like where it's like not really taking any chances on like weird sites. Like a lot of the products I'm selling are like brand name or like coming from like major retailers that it's just like there's no way that there's always a way, but like the chances of it happening are like extremely slim at this point, I think anyway.
Yep. But maybe that's all a wholesale thing as well. Like, because you're obviously more deep into certain brands. Like, I'm not extremely deep in any brand. Like, nothing takes up over 30% of my catalog. So it's not like I can lose one and the whole thing's done. So,
yeah. What Jonah puts this morning is absolutely crazy. It does seem like to be more wholesale. Is that like I've been trying to stay off Twitter and social media, so like I did happen to see that this morning. But do you think it's mostly wholesale?
Yeah. I think it's just that risk. Like, I'd say, I don't know these guys at all. Like, I talked to Jomar a little bit in the past, but I'd say they're selling a few brands, and then one brand just smacks them out of nowhere, and they don't expect that to happen. And then it just cracks all those listings. And it's like, even if they didn't get suspended, you lose like so much revenue and inventory and all this stuff if all this stuff gets like taken off. If I had to guess, I could be wrong, but that's just the way I've interpreted it a bit from how I see it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think like that's also too. I guess it's a hard like line to take too, because I feel like almost like we are as sellers, obviously we're pro like that's bad, but like you also, I guess Amazon has to like protect itself and like the millions and billions of people like they kind of serve goods to, because like if they get a reputation that like counterfeit shit's on there, then like we all go down hypothetically, because they're gonna be like, yeah, no more third party. I highly doubt that would happen, but like I guess that's how they have to think of it in a way. You almost just think like the appeal system has to be like, just has to be better. Who's getting suspended? This and East Coast Flipper are the only people I follow, really.
There's a decent chunk that I know personally.
Yeah, same here. And then obviously Romer got suspended, and that's for a completely different reason than the other things. And then I'm hearing also people getting suspended because their buyer count is buying A-to-A flips and they're shipping them to certain prep centers. And those prep centers are flagging A-to-A orders, but I guess because they're getting so many. And then their buying account's getting shut down. Therefore, their selling account gets shut down, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but your buying email and your selling email is the same thing. So
that's why I was told separate. If you're going to buy from Amazon, make it separate.
Yep. It's just
yeah. I have a business account with the business.
Yeah, like a separate.
Account. Yeah. Okay, got you. But yeah,
that's last night. Literally last night, there was an error on gift cards on Amazon. A bunch of people bought a bunch of them from a lot of these like little groups that I'm in. I'm not really active in them, but I like watching.
Someone posted on Instagram. It was Nordstrom Rack. It was like $60 for 100. I'm like, I know Instagram did like that, or Amazon did that, and then it makes sense if it's an app.
Everyone that bought those, their buyer accounts got locked. Therefore, their seller account gets locked.
Oh,
yeah,
that is insane.
That's not
good. That's like one thing. So like I'm selling like a handful of ASINs right now, and it's like it's just going like really, really well. And it's like on the one hand, my gut's like, go all in on this. It almost seems like indestructible, and obviously nothing is indestructible, but like it just seems that way. But I'm like fighting like that urge to like really go all in, because I know that like what could potentially happen, and I feel like also it makes you like a lazy sourcer. And then like if that goes to shit, like you're kind of screwed.
Yep.
I mean, if Amazon was, I don't know how I want to put this. If Amazon was easier to work with when it comes to your account being suspended, it wouldn't be as big of a problem. But in Amazon's eyes, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Like, if they suspect anything, you're guilty, 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 guilty. And you can literally do nothing technically wrong and still get suspended for things. And like, you have to fight through the appeals process. And I know people that have fought through the appeals process, and Amazon still has their money. Like, how is this legal? Like, having people's money for like 5 years, like $20,000, $50,000.
Probably not. They're probably going to get sued by a lot of people. Like action, I would say.
But in our terms and services, when we sign for those, like, we state that we can't sue Amazon. So Amazon
I didn't even think about that.
In that aspect. Yeah, it's messed up. Things you don't think about until obviously you or somebody you know goes through it. You're like, that really protects Amazon, doesn't it?
And maybe
it's like funny too, because like, there's like a huge risk or whatever, but like, I guess at this point, like, obviously, like, we all sell on Amazon, so obviously, like, it is worth the risk. It's just like stuff you have to like think about, and like, I never thought like selling used books, like, that people made counterfeit textbooks. Like, I had no idea until like I got hit with like 2 counterfeit textbooks, and I was like, got threatened like by a textbook company. They're gonna sue me and all this other stuff, and I was like, whoa. Like, if that happened today, I wouldn't be as like, because like I know like the process of getting through that. But like, I was about to quit my job, and I was like, oh man, this whole thing's over. But like, it worked out fine and everything. But like, yeah, it's just crazy to think.
Yep. Which there's lots of successful people that don't get suspended. So I mean, it's not like that happens all the time, but it's just like mitigated risk, you know. I want to know that when I'm doing stuff, that if it all goes to zero, that I have some stuff left over, like that I have money left over. All my net worth's not in my inventory or like whatever it is. And I think another big thing that I've like saw from all this happening is like Chris Potter's stuff. I don't know if you guys follow his like tweets and everything, but he breaks down like the math on a lot of this, like the numbers and everything. He says like the average margin's like 6 to 8%. Like that's very normal. So, and a lot of guys, like he tweeted about one guy who thought he made 25 grand. He had lost 30 grand. So a lot of that stuff is like, you think you're making this much, but you're not even making anything, and you could lose everything you got with it. So you gotta be really dialed.
Oh God.
Yeah, you're making negative 10% ROI every month. Like it's very
Chris is awesome. We had him on 2 weeks ago or last week? 2 weeks ago. Yeah. He's super smart. I mean, it's like a good like lesson, like not to be like over leveraged too, and like I don't know. Sometimes you get like FOMO and like you just figure out how leveraged some people are, and it's just like one like not so good thing happens, and like you're kind of screwed. That's kind of like how I'm like, I love Amazon and selling on Amazon, but it's like if my stuff got like, if I got suspended today, like I'd be able to cover all the credit cards, and I'd have like 6 months living expenses. So like that's why I don't like really sweat like the whole suspension thing, or don't worry about it, because like one, why would I think about that? Because like it's just like bad energy. Like, you know, obviously I know it could happen, but like I don't want to like dwell on it. And then like it's just like, you know what, it is what it is, and I'm just going to play it safer than normal. Like there's going to be I would say that too, like there's going to be a lot of like Q4 listings that are like going to be generic, or there'll be a Amazon listing and like a seller listing, and like those like are going to get probably shut down. So like be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. But yeah, you more now than ever. I mean, you should always play it by the book, but like I don't know, it's just a crazy time right now.
Yeah, I think people, one thing that gets conflated is like this normal business advice of like reinvest all your money, like grind. Like look at what all these successful guys have done with their companies. And I think that it's not understood that this isn't like a business. Like you can't sell it. You have to be there for it to work, unless you're in a situation like Soros where he's outsourced the whole thing. Like, but still, like, you can't really exit that. Maybe he thinks he can, maybe he will, but I just doubt it. And so it's like if you're not building something, what's the point of you reinvesting all your money into it? It's, to me, that doesn't really make a ton of sense. It makes more sense to be more careful with how fast you grow it, because it could be shut down and you don't have any end game. The only end game you have, you sell all your inventory. That's the exit. It's just you sell it all. No one's going to buy your account with whatever amount of inventory left. Like, that's probably not likely. So
yeah, there's no change in asset.
Yeah.
What's up, Miguel? What questions you guys have? Drop them in the chat. Yeah, just are you going to do any FBM this year?
I'm starting to a little bit.
Nice.
I have a friend moving up like where I live in December, I believe. And I'm gonna try to have him run a lot of the like FBM side. So I'm trying to get used to it again.
Yeah, I haven't done FBM in so long. Like like the items I'm selling now. Oh, it's complicated because like it's really hard to get it online. I'd really have to like hit a whole bunch of stores. But if I do like margin wise, I have to FBM it. And it's hard to tell right now. According to last year, the prices will be there to kind of like absorb that. Like, but it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like I was saying before, like you think you can't lose on it, but like I've definitely lost on stuff. I think I couldn't lose on like before for sure.
I think it is a safer thing in general, because like what you were talking about with like the generic listings, that type of stuff. If you buy a bunch of stuff and you're on a listing that gets taken down for whatever reason, and you have all the stuff in your house FBM, I mean, you can always get rid of it on eBay or you can return it or whatever it is. Unlike if it's all at Amazon, then you eat all those removal fees, and then it's probably too late to do anything with it. It might not have demand by the time you get it back. That type of stuff. So I see the FBM and how that's like better situation. Somebody said, what are the tools of the trade?
Yeah, what are the tools of the trade, Drew?
I'm assuming he means what, like softwares or something?
Yeah, go over it. Yeah, softwares.
Rakuten, Be Frugal, Top Cash Back. I use those because Rakuten goes to your PayPal. Be Frugal, I send that to my Venmo, and Top Cash Back goes to my bank account. So I have diversified ways there. CNET Shopping, which is, I'm not even sure what it really does, but I've been using it for a while. Right-click search on Amazon, Rev Seller, and DS Quick View, and Keep Up, obviously. So,
do you use Seller Snap, right?
Yeah, for repricer, but
repricer.
I don't even really include that because I feel kind of weird promoting that thing. I don't really know. I don't know how good it is. You know, I know how bad the other ones are, but I don't know how good this one is because I assume it's good, but I don't really know. And it's so expensive that it's like you might as well just test a few before you make a decision.
Yeah, I'm like super happy with Aura and like what they did, like with their new kind of 1.0 version. So I've been using that, and I just compared to the other ones I've used, like that's the best one. I don't know. I did have the opportunity, like they offered to try it, the Seller Snap, but like I was moving and I was like, now is not the time to kind of like do this like overhaul and of everything that I'm like currently doing. Are you guys still using Axiom? They fixed listing everything on eBay issue.
Oh, I told you about them, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to make you an apology note the other day about them. I don't. You can answer that.
Okay. See, I didn't know where you sat on this because, yeah. So it's hard. So like, I'm just gonna face it off, saying that like maybe I do not have the right inventory for them, but it has not really been a great experience. I mean, we tell the truth on here, so like whatever, like it is what it is. For me, it hasn't been the greatest experiment. It sounded like a great idea, and especially now that I'm getting like returns to my house, I'm like, this kind of sucks. But like, what would happen is it was just like a bunch of stuff sold, and they were just like, oh yeah, like our bad, like it was broken, so like you gotta they're like, oh, why don't you cancel the order? I'm like, okay, great, like yeah, I'm just gonna go do that and like destroy the eBay account. Then a lot of stuff that was like listed, and this could be like partly my fault, or like maybe I didn't understand how it worked, like should not have been listed on eBay. Like I paid $8 for it, and like it's being listed for $11, I'm paying them $4 to list it. It just like makes no sense. So now I'm losing like even more money, and then the whole like they never charge shipping on stuff. It just becomes like a total money loss, and now I have like $2,000 worth of stuff there that I probably have to like recall back. I might just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna dispose of all of it and just like let it go. I know it's one of those things where like you go through the inventory, you're like, all right, like I got, and then it's like, let me think it over. I don't know. What's your experience? Because I haven't heard from you since.
For people watching this, I have not talked to John about this until I told him I was using it and that he should use it. And I would have said the exact same thing that he did. So, and we haven't even talked about this. So that there was a lot of different issues with, and I don't want to like shit on this company or whatever. They're fine. Yeah. Like I'll still use them for certain things, but yeah, it's just that some stuff shouldn't have been listed. They messed up almost like 40% of my listings probably. Like what would happen? Sure. One thing that happened that was really bad was I had a few items that were recalled from Amazon because they weren't the right product. Like let's say it was a shoe and it was blue and I sent it under white and it got switched to blue. So that the thing says blue or whatever, but the shoe is clearly white. So it'll come back to me and they'll list it as blue on eBay when they see it's white. So like, it's not like this was complicated stuff. It was just very, like, it was clear stuff. Like you could have just saw it and been like, oh, this is why this got sent back or whatever. Like clearly this shoe's not blue. And then I would sell it on eBay and get more returns. So my eBay account, I'm a below standard seller. So I pay more fees now. My feedback is horrible and it was 100%. And I'm getting more returns to me on eBay than I am from Amazon. So I just got completely, for lack of a better word, fucked from this. And I don't know, like, I can't do it because my eBay account sucks now. Like, there's nothing I can do about it, which is not, John has been through a few of these services.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this is
it sucked 5 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, I am not like putting all the fault on them because like maybe I did not communicate with them. Like, there are a bunch of mistakes that were made. Where it's like there's one item where it's like they're listing the wrong type or the wrong that the customer's like, oh, or like sizes. They're like, oh, you know, it says XXL, but it's a small. And like, to be honest, it's become more of a headache than anything. It was supposed to not be a headache, and now it's an even bigger headache. And I'm just like, and one of the biggest things, so two big things here, like I think there was some stuff that were like total trash that like they listed. Like a customer got it, like it's obviously like no one's buying it on eBay. Like, so basically in my mind, it's like, oh, they just want to charge me $4 like for this. Like if you work with a prep center and like let's just say like some like my prep center, like, hey, this Lego box is smashed. Like, what do you want to do? They just don't send it to Amazon. You know, because it's just gonna be a problem. At least they give me the option, be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I just throw it away or whatever you're gonna do with it. So there was that, and then all the mismatching, and I feel like I didn't almost think it would be as expensive as it was. Like you get these bills and it's like $250. You're like, what the hell? And they're like, oh, like we listed like I don't even know what that would be, but like you're just like, what? And then I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to cancel it. I haven't canceled it yet. I gotta write that down. Cancel.
Another note that if anybody uses it, if you're more on top of this stuff, I'm sure John's the same way as me. We're not like super on top of our eBay. So I wasn't there checking it every day to edit the eBay and all that stuff. But I almost feel like if that's what I wanted to do, then I would have just done it myself. But let's just put that to the side. If I was there checking it every day, then it probably wouldn't have had that many issues. I could have been in constant communication. But the reason for that, like he said, was to take off a headache. And now I added another headache. But just on a bigger point, on these services that are different, things like this, the biggest experience I've had with paying anybody a bunch of money for services is it ends up being a bigger headache and I lose money. I don't know why people charge so much money for all this different stuff. It's like I'm giving you all this money and it's just a headache for everything. If people pay me for a service, I go out of my way to make sure I give the best service every time. But it's just so many people that just collect the money and they're like, well, I win. Well, dude, you still got to do what I paid you for. It's like that, just terrible quality of service from a lot of these different things, not just those people. It's not that those are that bad, but like when people are paying you lots of money, you got to provide good quality. Like that's how you keep the customers. Like you're just losing them now.
I would also say too, it's like I get it. Like I think they run a prep center too, so like I would guess this is like their secondary offer. But like I used to sell on eBay. Like I had like a $50,000 eBay store, like when I was doing books, and it's like I feel like the picture quality was like absolutely trash. Like it was terrible, and it's just like no one is going to buy that. Like it's just like how it is. It's like a hoodie is like a wrinkled mess hanging on like a dry cleaner hanger, and you're just like, what is going on? Like, are you guys like proficient at this or no? Like I was almost under the assumption that like they're really not like trying to like go. I'm just someone asked a question, so like. It's not on me. Like whatever.
Saying.
The last thing I want is someone to be like, "Oh, he didn't say anything about it, so like I guess it's good." And then like you're in my situation or Drew's situation.
I feel bad. I feel bad that like you're saying this stuff, and I told a bunch of people to do this. Now I'm like, I just have all these people. I've probably lost these people a conglomerate of $5,000. Like all these different people I've told this, and I'm like, man, that just feels bad on me now. But yeah, I just had to say
the Tiger Lily thing.
Yeah, the Tiger Lily thing too. And, like that's the hard part. Like everyone always like, and I think like this is just like almost a problem in general. Like everyone gets on everyone's cases, like, oh, you're not like you guys are hiding stuff, or you just tell like your friends or whatever. But like I feel like Drew knows that like if he told me about them, that like I'm not gonna be like Drew, like what the hell? Like no, like he's like trying them, like, and it's on me to like do the homework or be like, hey, I'm gonna try it too, but like I'm not gonna get mad at Drew or whatever. But like if I don't know you, like I'm not gonna recommend something that like I haven't fully vetted. And like a lot of the times too, like I've only been working with them for like 3 months. It's been bad for 3 months. So now it's like time to cut bait. But like there's always growing pains like in every like kind of like situation when you get started. So you just kind of like keep that in mind. And I think like a lot of the things too, it's like one of those things that just like almost seem too good to be true in a way. I also think like I've just had my girlfriend, like she's been posting the stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And like people have just been coming and like picking it up. And it's like for $20 or I was like, oh, that sucks. But it's like, well, it's just sitting in the warehouse on eBay. And like people, the volume on eBay, I don't know if it's because it's like return stuff, is terrible.
It is.
It's so bad. And I think like running a book business, like I know, like you have to post on eBay like every day. Like that's the name of the game. Like keep having, and it's like, well, I'm not doing that anymore because there's only like 20 of them, and it's just like I'm just not interested. Like it's become more of a headache, and it's like I'm trying to think of a creative solution where like I might just take like a large Home Depot box and put all this shit in there and be like sell it as like Amazon returns for like $100 and let someone on Facebook buy it.
$100 in it. I need like a truck.
Yeah, that's another thing. I will say this. I'm not gonna say there's like a really big seller the other day who's crushing it, and like they posted like maybe like 20 boxes of returns. I'm like, just wait till you see what's in those boxes, bro. Like all the it's like crazy. That's another thing too. I think like I lost track of like how much stuff was actually getting returned of actual ASINs. Because like when you don't see it, you don't like realize. So like there's one item I was selling that I have like 10 in a box and they're all busted. Like I would have stopped selling this like months ago. But like since it's just kind of going there, like it's getting listed, like I'm just not like thinking about it. So I think that was kind of like a pretty big eye opener. Like that one item that like remember those I don't know. The thing I sent you from Dick's or whatever. Mm-hmm. So many returns.
Yep.
Like absolutely insane. And it's just like never buying that again. Like it was good money, but like after all the returns, I'm like, this is terrible. Like it's all garbage.
Yep.
Like someone sent it like in a garbage bag back, with just the UPS label on it, like no box. And I was like, oh God, like that's the final straw for that.
That's the final.
I guess the moral of the story on that stuff too is I think that if you're gonna do type of things like that, you need to be super organized with it. If I was doing something like that in the future, I would get a VA to just like run that on the side, like part time, of just like making sure all that stuff wasn't terrible. But then again, how I don't even know how you'd set that up because they don't really know what they're looking at either. You know, if it's a messed up thing or there'd be the one thing you said there was like damaged stuff. It'd be sent and returned back to me because it was damaged. I'm like, well, it said it was damaged. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. And I will say this, like it's not an easy job, like to do that, like especially for multiple people, because I've done it just for myself. But like if you're gonna charge, like I would say that's a premium price for like kind of what's going on over there. And so, you know, I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts about it. I mean, you're more than welcome to try it, but that's kind of been my experience. Kayla, how's the second house going? Are you showing it yet? I think she's looking for a buyer if you're interested.
I am. I've had 8 showings and then 1 open house and then another open house. Not this weekend, but next weekend. I just gotta find somebody who loves it as much as I do.
Would you ever consider like Airbnb-ing it or like
No.
renting it? No.
It's too nice to be a rental. Way too nice. It's got tile floors in the bathroom. Would never trust a renter. Sorry, no offense to people who rent houses. But I couldn't trust anybody. It's too nice.
Did you guys see all the old heads coming at me on Twitter?
About what?
Was that the $1 million chasing 10 million?
Yeah, I think I never tweet. I get on there and tweet. Every
I'm so mad. Every time I see a tweet from Drew, it's like 20,000 impressions. I'm like, this guy never tweets, but like he knows how to stir the pot well.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that the other day where I never tweet and stuff. And that's how I kind of grew following to begin with. When I was in middle school, like when I was young, I used Twitter then when it was like brand new and I was a kid. And I had some tweets when I was in middle school hit like 200, 250 likes, which is like crazy. I was like 13, 14 years old because I was like roasting other people. And I think that I learned how that Twitter stuff kind of works with that stuff. So when I get on there, not that I had some science, but I kind of know what to like get people, talking. And that one I knew would get a bunch of people talking. I just didn't know it would get to that extent. I'm surprised it didn't even get more because a lot of people comment on that and they were not, it was like fighting in the replies.
So what was the gist of it for people who didn't see it?
Yeah, it was, I saw a tweet. Yeah, I saw a tweet a few weeks ago that said, don't miss $10 million chasing $1 million. I thought a lot about that, and I thought that Amazon was a pretty good epitome of that, is that Amazon's maybe a really good vehicle for a 10, 15-year period to get to like $1 million, like net worth, let's say, not inventory, but it's not a good vehicle to get to 10 mil. And I don't know anyone that has. And do I even want to get to 10 mil? I don't know. 5 to 10 mil is probably my goal by the time I'm in my 40s or whatever. But I just don't know if that's what's going to get me there. But it's a really good thing that now I've built up all this capital when I'm young. It's like the quickest way I've had to make money, and it's worked out really well. But everybody was saying, well, you can get to whatever amount. A bigger YouTuber guy was saying, oh, I taught somebody and they sell 1,000 pairs of shoes a day. I'm like, I don't understand if these people like are lying or are they just not understanding what they're saying? Because it's not like I didn't say it was impossible. I didn't say that. Yeah. I said it wasn't optimal. And I'm not going to lie to the people that follow my stuff. Like, I don't think if there's some ambitious kid out here who's already made 400 grand off Amazon, I'm not going to say, well, just keep reinvesting, man. Like, you'll eventually get there. Like, I think that maybe there's a better opportunity to put your money somewhere else. Like, or there's better businesses to start at that point where you have all that capital. Stuff I always talk about, but they seem like, I don't know, you just can't make exceptions to the rule aren't the rule. And that's what they were fighting about. And there was guys that would kind of, they would expand on my point. And I was like, these guys are saying it better than me. And then these guys are attacking me for it. Like, not attacking me, but they're attacking the point, saying I was wrong or whatever. But I look at that as just completely disingenuous if you find me wrong there. Because I don't think I'm not pushing any type of narrative either. I'm just giving people like what I think is the truth through my 4 years of reselling, like at a large scale.
I'm just trying to think of how I want to put this. I don't know what I'm trying to think of what I would like to construct together, but like I don't know. I think Amazon sellers, they think that like Amazon is like God, and like it's like the Almighty, and that everything else doesn't matter. Like I don't know. It's just weird. Once you explore other businesses and you meet other business people in businesses, they make fun of us.
because it's not a business. It's an awesome
I'm trying to dance around that.
Yeah, because it's an awesome job. Like this is the best thing. Like to make cash flow, to have a fun thing where you're not having to answer to somebody. This is awesome. Like Amazon's awesome. It's like an easy way to not answer to people, to get your feet in the water with business, all this different stuff. Like I'm not even. If I had to do it all again, I'd probably still go the same route I did.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But like she said, when you're talking to people who I've talked to some guys recently that have made 150K in a week or 250 grand in a week, stuff like that. I don't know people on Amazon doing that. And it's not possible to do that without massive amounts of capital, like literally millions of dollars. So so what am I going to do? Go get a bunch of loans and stuff? I'm 25. Like I don't even have enough tax returns or good enough tax returns to do something like that. But if you get a piece of content that goes viral and you have some type of info product or something like that, you can make 50, 100K in a day, regardless of who you are. If you're a fitness influencer or so that's the type of stuff that I don't think, I guess people just don't know about that in the Amazon thing, but yeah, I wanted to shine a bit of light on it, but I guess
I think it's hard too. Like, I feel like that's like the big piece of context. It's like, I've been selling on Amazon for 5 years. You've been doing it for 4 years. What are you, Michaela? 3 years? Two,
and then a year on eBay. So 3 and
2 in a year on eBay. So it's just like you have like context, and it's like I get it because like I was there. I was like, wow, like this is amazing. Like this is you can't. It is amazing. Like it's I would argue it's the easiest way to make 5 or 10K a month by far. Like granted, like you said, you're not going to make 5 to 10K a day. Like I would totally agree with that point. Like unless you have massive cap, but like 5 to 10K a month, like a lot of people are not making that like in America, like for sure. Yeah, and it's like you run your own schedule. You're just kind of shopping, it's just like you get to basically. I forgot who it was, but they asked us on this show. They're like, "Man, like it seems like you guys are boring. Like all you guys do is like work and like it's lonely." And it's just like, no, and then like eventually it came to me. It's like I get to pick my own coworkers basically. Like I could choose to like text Drew and be like, hey, like I'm having this problem. Like at work, you have to deal with a bunch of bozos and like people you hate. Like you choose your friend circle in this game and like your business circle, and like that's who you could grow with. And like that's probably like the best part about this. And it's definitely the easiest way to make 5 to 10K. Like I don't want to like next year, like Q4, I'm gonna crush. But like I think next year I'm only gonna put up a certain amount of money every month. And then like that is going to be it. And I'm taking like profit out. And I've done a very good job of taking profit out. Like I take a fixed amount every month. Just because Hermosi talks about that. He's like, no, like you take out every month, and like if the business can't like run without that, then like you just have a bad month. Because like if something were to go wrong, like you lose like 4 or 5 years of your life and you're stuck with nothing. You have nothing to show for it. So like that's kind of how I look at it. And like everyone always like, oh, you're so calm about like suspense. It's like because I'm not over leveraged. Like I take out every single month. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not just like rolling this big like snowball. And like I don't care like if I'm not showing like 100K every month because like I'm not trying to sell shit. Like you know what I mean? It's just like whatever. And it's been like so quiet, and like I just kind of enjoy helping people, and like I don't really know like what will be the future for me for this, but like I honestly think it's like risking like probably 45 to 50K a month, and like that will probably bring in 100K in sales. And then I've really just been focusing on higher ROI stuff. Like I'll do like probably like 75K this month, which is probably the biggest month of this year so far. So I've just been rebuilding, and like I'm selling stuff that's not getting returned, like 20% ROI stuff, like no more like 10%, like $2 profit stuff. Like the business has never been more profitable. But like most people on Instagram would be like, damn, like that's a crap business. I'm be like, makes money. Like
Perspective is
making more money. Making more money doing this month than I would have if I did 100K at like 10% margin.
Yep.
And like that's what I care about now is like the profit and not like kind of the bars.
I can feel a shift in like what people's what's it called? Just like people's language towards that stuff. I think that it's more pushing towards that. I think more people are talking about it, like just more about, focusing more on the profit and that you don't have to have big numbers and things like that and to take money out and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think the sentiment is changing. I think that's like,
Mhm.
maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's just the circle I'm in because I have all the other people muted. But I think that more people are talking like that I've seen.
And it almost doesn't make sense to me because it's like if you are doing this full time, like how are you not taking money out to live? I mean, I guess you could do it off of cash back and stuff. That's a little different, but like you don't have that much cash back if you're doing like let's say 30K a month in sales, 40. Like what do you have cash back? Like maybe $2-3 grand for like the 3-month period, probably around there, depending what you're doing, obviously.
I don't know.
You all heard the Jeffrey Bezos song. Yeah, that is actually funny on Instagram. I like that. You could barely make 2K a month.
As a retailer.
Oh, as a retail.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought they were calling you out, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
snap.
I was like, I'm rolling a massive snowball right now. Luckily, I'm still at home. Definitely got to start playing. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on your risk, too. Like, for me, it's like, this is my full-time thing. Like, I obviously have other things going on, but it's more, I almost think it's a more interesting story. And I've thought about this with like content. And I've got this from like Checkmate Flips. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he does a lot of like eBay to Amazon stuff. And he's doing like this series on YouTube. It's like he's putting up 100K and plans on making 100% ROI on it. And like he's documenting like the process of that. And I'm like, that's an interesting thing. It's like, how cool would it be if like you're just like, I think your mindset changes too. It's like, let's just say I decide to do it next year. I'm only going to spend 50 grand a month. But like you're going to spend that 50 grand like much differently if like you just can't like inject more. Like maybe you're not going to like take like something that's like like a so-so ROI because and there's usually one like pretty big opportunity per month, like whether it's a sale or a bolo or whatever. So like you're gonna spend it differently, and like I'm just I'm seeing it much differently now, and just like trying to like block out the noise and be like, no. And I think at the end of the day, you have to do like what works for you. Like if your business goes bust and like your only real consequence is like your parents are like, I told you so. I mean, whatever, you know what I mean? But like if your business goes bust and like you can't pay rent or eat, like that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, Sadiq, I've been following your stuff for a while.
Yeah,
you're probably close to like what my age when I started, like 2021, if I had to guess, or maybe you're younger. Yeah, it's good to have a snowball, and just like invest a lot when you're at home because you do have that stuff. But I'll recommend 2 things. One, start taking a little bit of money out anyways and not burning it on stupid stuff. Like spend it on stuff that's going to grow your skill set because you're not developing too much of a skill set with this Amazon stuff. And 2, whenever you move out of your parents' house and you live alone, you'll start taking money out because you have to survive. You have to go eat. You have to get groceries. Because I was the same way. I lived at home for like a year and a half when I started this stuff. About a year and a half, and then I was just investing everything. I'd lose money all the time and not even care because I knew I had a place to stay or whatever. But then I moved out and got a lot more conservative with what I was doing and making sure that I was saving money, investing money like into stocks, as boring as that sounds, stuff like that. But you'll get that as soon as you move out. But as of now, yeah, roll the snowball, man. Like you're young.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, it's a huge advantage. Like I don't like think of any like. I wish I did that. Like Amazon was like a big thing when I was like living at home because like it would have went so much. I probably would have never got like a job or like any of that stuff. But then it's like, well, you learn a lot. Like I've learned a lot having a job that like helped me build the Amazon business and even make content and do all that kind of stuff. It's just very different, and I feel like that's like the thing that kind of drives me crazy about it. And like you see it all over Twitter. It's like there's no right or wrong way, really, unless you're doing like. I actually meant to text you the other day. Someone was like DMing me about like that they could get me USPS labels, like $6 flat rate, and I was gonna try to get them on like a Zoom call, and then put it on YouTube, and they like refused to like meet on Zoom. But I'll probably post like the screenshots because it was just like it's like, oh, is this illegal? And he's like, no, like you could verify. It was just I can see how someone falls for it. I mean, but like again, like you have to have common sense and be like, yeah, like that makes no sense.
Yeah. I've got some DMs like that recently too. I'm like, guys, I don't think those. I think the guys selling that stuff don't know it's illegal. I think that they are like blinded by their own ignorance there. I don't think that they know because I've talked to some guys that are like they're 100% convinced they're real. I'm like, I bet they are because they're making a bunch of money. I think it was real too, but it's not. Like that's just
they're like the boiler room like stock guys. They're like the piece of the pink slips. They're like, ah, this is saving the world, like whatever. And they're like, and the head guy's like, you guys are so dumb, so dumb. What questions you guys have?
Yeah, awesome questions. Nick, you always got good questions, man.
Drew's ready to go. Drew said he has lots of energy before Michaela. He's like, I'm ready to rock.
Thought over the last few weeks. I've been thinking about a bunch of stuff, so I have a bunch of things to say. You can just give me
shoot it.
I don't know. Mainly like just the stuff I've already said, and then what did I have written down here? Yeah, I mean, you even touched on this stuff, like evaluate your own goals, like stay off social media to a large extent. Like that stuff really will get in your head. We say that like every time, but it's just tough. You just never know what's going on behind the scenes. Like you never know how much money someone started with or this or that. And if you stay out of that stuff and just learn Amazon and do it on your own, you'll be much, much better off. You can network or whatever, but just be careful with who you talk to and find good people.
Yeah, and I think like too, it's like if you like see something, I think like you almost have to get like a taste of it for yourself, where you're like, if it tastes like okay, like if someone says something, like obviously like do it, but like if it doesn't make sense or like some of the numbers don't add up, like maybe think twice and like watch another video or something like that. But like I think too, like the gist of it is like there's plenty of money to be made on Amazon. I know like it was kind of like doom and gloom like early on, but like for the most part, like I said before, it's definitely the easiest way to make 5 or 10K a month profit. Nothing is easy, so like just take that with a grain of salt. But like I don't know, except for like an info product business, like you had to go build like a frozen yogurt store or like a brick and mortar or anything, like forget it. Like you need like 200 grand
and skills.
Yeah, and skills, marketing skills, sales skills, like SEO, like it's just crazy what you need. So like it's a great opportunity. So like not shying anyone away from that, but like if you think you're gonna be like a quadrillionaire, like I know one person who's like crushing it. I don't know them personally, but just like kind of following them and like kind of reading about like they're like legit, like buying like massive houses and car like stuff like that, but not like scammy. But they're doing like private label and stuff, so it's a little different. What are you guys focusing on these days? Manual, keep a product finder, or what?
Both. I start every day at keep a product finder, and then I'll go manual if I see something that catches my attention. But I always start with keep a product finder. It's easier to look at that data to me than do all the other different sourcing methods.
Are you looking at just brand specific or just like category?
Yeah, I'll start with brands, or a lot of times I'll start with just like storefront stocking a few brands, not to actually find products, but just to get inspired for my brain to go in some direction. So like if I'm on a few brands, maybe it's a brand I'm already selling and I just like forgot about it at the moment, and then I'll go that way. And then I'll just literally look up sales from brands that I sell and then just look at that, see if there's any products there, go from there.
I've been doing that a lot. I've actually been doing a little bit more storefront stalking, but very differently. Like a lot of the stuff I've been like buying recently is like, it's like, I don't know even know how to explain it, but it's not like your typical stuff. Like it's being found in Keepa, like hard to find. So people that have that, like have some other stuff that's like really hard to find. It's not like we're not doing like reverse sourcing off like Stanley Cups or anything like that. Like it's more very nitty gritty. I'm doing everything myself. I don't have a VA anymore. Like I'm sharing leads with people, which has been like that's awesome. Like that's probably like the best return you could do. And everyone always asks like, how do you set that up? Just start sending people leads for free that like you talk to. Don't do it to like random strangers because like a lot of people are approaching you be like, oh, it happened like a couple of times where people are just like, oh, like here's a lead. I'm like I don't even know you. Like it's like a trap, like to get like your storefront or whatever. But like it's just like kind of I don't know. It's just being a normal person. It's like, oh, hey, Michaela, like I've been buying this. A lot of the leads I do share too, I have like data on. Like, hey, I just sold 10 of these. I'm about to buy like 20 or 30 of them. Like, I know you just want to pass this along kind of thing. And I don't know, that's worked out good. Now I share with like someone every day. So I mean, I feel like that's always helpful. It's really what works for you. I mean, everything works. Like, I think that's like the big takeaway. Like, you can find stuff manual, you can find stuff keep a product finder, you can find stuff storefront stock, and like, it just really depends. I think it all just really comes down to timing.
Yep. But in the hours, this is an interesting story. There's a guy that I'm like coaching right now that found me through not all this stuff. So he's not involved in any of these like Amazon live streams or Twitter or whatever. He's just like completely outside of the ether. So he doesn't know about anything but me. But he came in with like he liked to find cheap stuff online. And I'm not going to give his stuff away. So I'm trying to like skirt through this, but he liked to find cheap deals online. And he had all these ways. And like, you think this would work? And I was like, I don't think so, but you can try it. So he's been doing a lot of that plus the stuff I've taught him. And he's basically just doing what he was doing before. I just taught him how to sell this stuff. And he's doing some weird ways of like finding products that I've never tried before. I don't know anybody that tries before, but just trying to find different deals online and things like that. And then going like pretty deep on these massive sales that he's finding, like setting up little alerts for websites and things like that. But he just started brand new, not knowing even how to make a shipment. To now he spent like $4,000, $5,000 this month. And he's like asking me questions about making shipments and all this stuff now. He's like ready. He's already getting sales, all these different things, which is interesting. But he came in with a little bit of knowledge of just finding cheap stuff. And now he's just went full on the deep end because I'm like, this stuff is working. This stuff's good. I'd buy it. So
yeah. That's awesome.
Very
I mean, like that's like the big part of it too. It's just like it would be interesting, like if you knew nothing and like didn't listen to the space, and it was just like, hey, like you need to find this for a third of the price or half the price, and just like kind of see what they would do or whatever. You'd be probably pretty surprised. Like I know my sister, she has a 3-year-old, and it's just like seeing some of the deals like she works or like the sales she knows. It's like, oh wow, like I never thought about that. Or like just like weird stuff that like I would have never thought to buy or anything like that. It's just interesting and eye-opening.
Yep. Sadiq, dump some questions, man. If you're still in here, you always got good ones. Ask me something deep, man.
What do you do, or what are you doing for Black Friday? Do you usually buy hard on Black Friday or no?
I don't remember if I did last year. Probably a bit. I mean, just depends, I guess, how good the sale is. I know there's a few websites that a lot of people buy a lot off of for Black Friday. I didn't do that last year. I might do more of that this year, but we'll see. I kind of take it day by day. I should forecast that stuff a little better. I don't really.
I didn't it's gonna sound bad, but I didn't forecast anything. There's like, I would say probably 10 ASINs that I'm like very bullish on and like have been replenishing like how it made sense. And I'm just literally going to like probably like just play day by day. Like I could get it at retail stores. So I have no problem like kind of going to track that stuff down, or like if it makes sense. It's just like, after that thing from Dick's and like some other thing I was on that I just like went really, really deep on, like I got so like crushed. Like talk about like being up like $3,000 and then ending up like down like 150. And it's just like, I mean, it could have went a lot worse, but it's just like, oh man, like it's brutal. So like, yeah, I never want to put like all the eggs in one basket, but it's like that's probably the trickiest thing about Q4 is like you want to take advantage of hot opportunities, but like that could change at any given time. So it's like this tricky little thing. Yeah, I don't really buy into like the whole Chad buy and all that other stuff.
That's a tough risk profile to take home.
Yeah. And also too, like once you're stuck in something, if you can't liquidate it, you can't really buy anything else. So that's kind of how. Yeah, I can't say what it is, but like I don't know. Like I've been really working this hard, and like can't really see the angle how this blows up in my face, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. One big learning like thing I've taken over the last few months is I started talking to a lot of bigger sellers on Amazon. I just somehow got in these little circles. It's not even like I reached out to them or anything. It just somehow happened. And the way they run these businesses is a lot different than what I run my business. They go a lot deeper on products. They take on debt, so they are able to hold things longer. And they're older than me, so they have more capital, things like that. And it really made me go a lot deeper on a lot of products recently that I normally wouldn't go deep on. And I'm stuck with so much terrible inventory. And I've never ran my business like that in the past. I'm always the guy that says like test stuff. Don't ever buy a bunch of inventory, like spread yourself thin so you're not. But I changed that up in the last few months, and I just see it now. We're sitting on like probably 50, 60 grand worth of stuff that's bad. Like it's just like really bad. Plus the 80 grand of returns I have sitting in a storage unit. So that'll be a big project. At the end of the year, I have some, like I said, I have a friend coming up. He's going to work for me. I plan on making that his job. Like, dude, give me all this money back and I'll give you like 30%. He might make like 30 grand off this, but I just want to get some money back because in this business, it just gets lost easy with bad buys and returns and lost shipments and all this stuff. You got to be on top of that stuff or you just burn all the cash you make month over month.
Yeah, I will say that's probably one of the biggest learning lessons I've had, especially this year, as like I was trying to like refine, like get out of apparel and like kind of redefine my business. Is like whenever you start playing someone else's game, for me anyway, that's when I've lost the most money. And I think it's because I don't fully understand what they're doing. Like on paper, like I kind of understand, but then it's like, I mean, we've talked about it too. It's like there are some people who are playing for like the cash back and credit card points. So like when you're trying to like model that, you're like, how are they getting this stuff? Like, oh, they must be winning the buy box $10 higher. Like it looks like they're winning it 1% of the time. And it's like, no, like it's not what's going on. And you just take like a loss on that. So I think like anytime I've really tried to play someone else's game. And I also think when you try to like play someone else's game, like sometimes you're almost looking for a shortcut, and like that's always never really works out. Here we go, Sadiq.
There we go, Sadiq.
When do you think the best time to start funneling money elsewhere? I don't really have any intent to scale past 200K a month, with the exception of seasonal. Currently at 100K a month.
Yep, that's a good question.
I know you start another biz and kind of been in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I think a good time to take the money out is when you're pretty much like where you're at. If you don't have the intent to scale, then it's time for you to take some money out monthly that you don't need to reinvest the next month. So whatever amount of money you're spending right now to get to, I'm going to break this down super simple, although this probably isn't even close to what it is. But let's say you're spending 50K and you're trying to make a 30% ROI net. Somehow you get there, you sell 100K and you're making 15K a month. You know, you can take out technically close to 15K if you just keep having that 50K over and over. If they all sell in 30 days, that's all not going to happen. But that's kind of, maybe you can get the gist of what I'm saying there, is that the profit at the end that's left over, take a certain percentage of that. There's a bunch of books on that stuff. I don't read many books, but I'm sure you can find one that tells you the percentage of profit you need to take out of your business. Or if you start an S Corp, you can start paying yourself. that type of thing to where you have to take the money out and not, okay, well, I'll take some out this month, or maybe I'll take some out this month, or I really want to scale harder this month, because that's the cycle you get into where you're like not disciplined, and then you end up just losing a lot of it at the end. So yeah, that's start funneling money when you have enough money left over to where you're not reinvesting everything and you're comfortable with where you're at, and then you can start taking that out and then put it into another business if you want to. And the reason I've started the other business is because I have less time dedicated to my Amazon now. And I was starting to put more time towards other things, but they weren't really making me very fulfilled or whatever. So now I'm doing something different, and I can dedicate way more time, and I'm pretty passionate about it because it's like fun to learn that new business. So, yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people too, it's like you could take it out and you could always put it back in, right? Because you as long as you don't spend it. I mean, like that's kind of the thing. Like I don't know. Like I do think too. Like when you start to like take it out, it makes you like think differently. It's like, how am I making like $200K a month and I can't take $2,000 out of this? And you're like, what? Like, how is it even possible? Like, it just really gets your wheels turning. And like, well, where's all this money? It's like, well, inventory, return. Like, it just really makes you like think. And I think like I know too. It's like I take out a certain amount every single month, and it's just like, hey, like this is what happens. And it makes the business like so much stronger because it's like I need to take this out every month, and it's like more than what I need to live or whatever. And like I invest and all that other good stuff, but like, yeah, it's just a different kind of like way to think about it. And at the end of the day, like it's gonna be so bad. But like all the orange bars and like social cred you get, like you can't put it in the bank. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like it's good for social, it's good for like building following and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, like if that's what you're after, but if you're after like money, you should be focused on like profit.
100%. That's like the point of the business, is to make money. I think sometimes it gets lost. It's really hard. What you were saying about taking it, I think when you take money out and you put it places, it makes everything feel real. Like, especially Michaela, perfect example. She has like houses. So that feels pretty real, the Amazon thing. Like if you can convert it into cash or real estate or like investing into stocks and all this stuff, makes it feel like, look what I'm building here. Like I'm like actually making good money. When if you just turn into inventory all the time, sometimes it all doesn't feel very real. And that can feel like a good thing when it's a bunch of numbers and you feel like you're playing a video game, but that doesn't get you anywhere. Like you need the money. You're going to need, right now it might be fun to make whatever you're making, but like in 5, 6, 7, 10 years or whatever it is, you're going to be like, oh, I need this money. I'm like starting a family, or I want to go do this. And yeah, now I have 300 grand in inventory. I don't know where all my money's gone, like all this stuff. So you have to think about, long term. It's hard to do that when you're young, especially. I've been in that situation. It's not like I'm this wise guy forever. It's been like the last few months, but yeah, it's important.
Yeah, I agree too. Like when I had my full-time job or whatever, it's like I cared about the Amazon business because obviously I wanted to do it, but like it was way less risky because I didn't need any of that money. It was just like, yeah, like eventually, like once it's like cash flowing enough, like I'm definitely gonna like pull it out. But like I don't know, there's definitely something different than like if you need to take a certain amount out every month. Definitely pay yourself. /reinvest elsewhere. Indeed, rather keep that than keep turning profits back into Amazon. Yeah, that always makes sense. I mean, I'll say it again. I love Amazon. And it's like a great opportunity, and like I'm going to continue to make a ton of money on there. But yeah, I think my strategy next year is definitely going to just be like put up a certain amount, like, and see how much I could like make off of that certain amount, and then go from there.
Yeah,
that's that you have the same type of story as me, man. Like that reselling stuff, it's so tough because you're not building anything. You're just buying stuff, like hoping it sells. Sometimes stuff gets lost. It's very difficult because it's not like an actual business. And yet you're probably in the same cycle. I mean, the biggest reason I realized this is I look back on the last 3 or 4 years of me doing this, and I'm like, I've made like $700,000. I've had to. And I don't have $700,000, I can assure you. Like, so I've just blew a lot of it on, not like I don't have a fancy car or fancy house. I don't have anything like that. I just blew it on maybe okay, I can buy $10K worth of this product and maybe it's sitting there, or maybe I end up losing a lot of money or some of it got lost. Well, who cares? Because I've got this. Being organized with that stuff and really taking money out, making it feel real is way better for you. It just, you'll get stuck in a cycle to where you make $1 million over a certain amount of time and you don't even have close to $1 million in your bank account or in inventory. Like you just have a third of it or whatever it is. So yeah, it's good. This is good advice for you since you're young, Sadiq. I wish somebody would have told me this shit when I was your age.
That's sad. You didn't even get bottle service with like one of those signs with like all the sparklers and stuff.
I do. Whenever I go to the bar with my friends, like I'll go out with my friends, I'll pay for everything. Or like this weekend, I have some like coaches in my like program that I run. I'm like taking them to like this thing near me, and I'll pay for dinner and stuff like that. So I'm not living extravagant, but I'll pay for stuff. But yeah, but I think that helps too. Paying for some stuff like buying your friends stuff and buying, nice dinners, things like that. That makes things feel real too. Cause you're like, I got to keep up with like, being at least living a high standard of life. I have to take money out. There's no other way I can pay for it.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely like, yeah, all good points. And like, yeah, like taking money out, like, I think that's like the kind of the crazy point. It's just like even like I've been setting in like some shipments myself and like really like looking at the inventory labs like damn, like used to take you like a whole month to make this like potential profit. Obviously it's all potential, but like yeah, being able to take money out is just like wow, like it's pretty crazy. It definitely puts like a little bit more stress on the business because obviously you're sucking out. But like once you hit that like equilibrium where it's just like okay, like yeah, this is what it is. You just kind of like adjust, and it's like I'm not saying I take out like everything, but like I just take out what I kind of need, plus a little more, where I can like keep building up like savings and stuff like that. And that's just kind of like what's worked for me.
Another thing about like these things that we're saying now, a lot of times me and John talk a lot. So the way that we're kind of confirming each other's like biases toward this stuff, whether that be good or bad. A lot of you younger guys like in here that are watching or whatever, or that watch this, you're going to get in these little confirmation bias, like echo chambers, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in your Discord group, to where everybody's like, we have to make tons of money. We have to keep pumping inventory. Like my bank account's negative 5,000. Look how cool I am. I have so much inventory, whatever it is. Like that stuff's cool and it's like fun and like, but that is not the way to do it long term. Like you will end up broke like that for sure.
Yeah, we're going to see the cash poor inventory rich.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Shortly.
I've already seen that. I've got all of my net worth in my inventory. I'm like,
which is funny. What's funny is Arbitrage Ops tweeted that, and I think I know the guy that like tweeted that one specifically. I talked to him. I feel like he doesn't even like think like that, but those guys are really smart. They put that out there. But Arbitrage Ops is like where I learned a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. Like they're smart. It's funny he would say that, the person that did that, because I think that he's like a really smart business guy, and he also has lots of money on the side. So him saying that, that's not the way that is. But
it's like I feel like a lot of things too on Twitter. It's like the cool thing to say. Like I was laughing when you're talking about a video game. It's like, oh, how many people have you seen? Oh, Amazon's just like a video game. It's like, yeah.
Well, I started.
When you lose, you fucking lose. Like you don't start it over.
Like a year ago, I remember putting a tweet out. It was like but it's just a screenshot of my sales, and I said new high score. And now I see people do that all the time, and I was like, man, I came up with that on my own. I'm sure somebody had done it in the past, but I was like, man. But now it is a video game. It's like new high score over and over.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and it's like, yeah, it's definitely interesting, and like, yeah, it should be. I don't know. I'm very bullish on Q4. I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Profit First by Mike. Yeah. That guy said that. I heard about that book. Somebody asked me if I had read it because I treated my business like that. And like I said, I don't read any books really. And I've always done that profit first thing almost to a T. I have the certain bank accounts he talks about, how much I take out. I've always ran mine kind of like that on accident. So it has worked for me. Like I've stuck around longer than a lot of the guys that I started with. I was just thinking the other day how many guys that were posting profit numbers and running groups and all this stuff. they're just off the world now, like completely out of here. Like I've stuck around for a long time in this young group that started like during COVID or whatever, and now is like stuck it out. Not a lot of guys have. A lot of those guys have fell off, or just they're doing something completely different now. And it's because I took out money and I didn't run my business like a crazy person.
Yeah, that's always interesting too, and it's interesting because like I guess like for argument's sake, like if stuff went, you could just like delete your Twitter account and your Instagram, like no or no.
No.
Like who, like where you went, or like no one would care probably. Like, oh, where'd Drew go? I'm like, I don't know.
Won't be dropping any bombs on Twitter. How sad.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have any more questions? Do you have any other hot takes, Drew? You said you had a list of stuff.
No, we talked about basically anything. Just the new direction of Twitter stuff. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I don't know if I've talked about this on here before. Well, that's what he said. But one of the things that people talk about a lot, and it kind of goes back to my last point on the confirmation bias, the echo chambers, that type of thing, because you can easily get sucked into that, is, you know, when you're networking, that's like what everybody talks about is network. That doesn't always work out in your favor. I talked to a guy for like a year straight, sent this guy like thousands and thousands of messages, taught him everything I knew about Amazon. Now I charge money for it. And this guy just like completely screwed me on multiple things. That can happen to like anyone. Like you think somebody's in it with you and this type of thing, and it's just like they'll screw you over because you're just providing way more value. And then recently I watched a podcast by Ty Lopez that he says that every year he audits his friends and his circle and sees how much he's given them versus how much that they give him, or how much that he gives and then how much they give back. And if it's not like 50-50 or close to it, then that's like not a good person for your life. And that was like that relationship. It was like 80-20. That person gave me like nothing, but I gave them a bunch of stuff. But now I've just started thinking, if you're in these like networking situations where you're talking to people all the time and you're networking, make sure that you're getting back what you're given. Because if that's not the case, then it's very bad relationship, especially because you already know it's going to be this echo chamber of you guys agreeing on a bunch of stuff and things like that. So,
yeah, agree.
Networking rant.
Appreciate you guys. Young and hungry, and just try to run it up while I'm young. Just turned 20 last month and realized how much opportunity we have with Amazon plus other online business right now. Yeah, 100%. There's so much opportunity, and like, yeah, man, I was not doing this at 20. I was actually working for my dad. I actually thought I'd work for him forever and like build this empire with him, but like it didn't work out that way.
Sadiq, you're going to be a very rich man one day, so I believe in you. I'm bullish. Sure. If you were a stock, I'd invest a little bit, 1-2% of my money in it. So yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's all like good stuff. If you guys don't have any more questions, then we'll wrap it up. No one has any questions.
Sweet.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. Drew, thanks for being here. His Instagram and all that stuff is in the description. Have a good weekend, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Of course, man.